Morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee Chat. Our co-host today is Becky Wilson with One Stop Insurance Solutions. And Becky is here today. She's going to tell us all about her foundations program. And I am super excited to hear that. But first, Becky, I'd love to hear an intro from you. Tell us all about you, all the interesting things, not just about business.
Oh, okay. The interesting things. I always like to say I lead the most boring life ever, but actually, I am a mother of three. Actually, two of my daughters are still living. I lost my youngest daughter to addiction, and as a result, raised three of my grandsons. And they are now 23, 21, and 21. The two 21s are their cousins. They are about 6 months apart. My middle grandson is a 21-year-old cancer survivor. He was born with stage 3 cancer, and he is God's gift to us. And I started my business when I was 65 years old.
Wow. And didn't you just, correct me if I speak out of turn, didn't you just take a child to college?
I did my 21 year. Well, actually, I have one that's in college online, plus he works full time, and then I have my other one that I took him to back to school for his senior year at college, and he's living in an apartment this year instead of a dorm, so that was a transition. And I think he's ready to take on the world. So
I've done both. I've gone in-person college where I lived on campus and then done a lot of online college. And I have to say that I think it's easier to go in person and just be total immersion, right? Like it's just your lifestyle. Everything about it is, right? Even though I had a job, I say I had a job. I worked at the library because I love reading. You probably didn't know that about me. Fun fact. I love reading. So I got a job at the library and this was, I mean, I don't want to age myself, but I think it was $2 or $3 an hour. I
oh
wasn't
wow.
making money to pay for college, that's for sure. Um, but my parents did that, but I literally just got a job because I was in the library all the time helping people anyways, because I loved the library. It was like my hangout place. So, but then as an adult, I went to college online at three different colleges, I think. And I felt like that was harder. Of course, I was juggling kids and all those things too, but I remember having to retrain my brain to have Sunday night homework turn-ins because
So
when you're in person, it's not like that. It's during the
I,
week.
Yeah. I think it's a personality thing too. So my youngest grandson that's going online, graduated with 4.7 GPA, went off to his first year. He was going to play college basketball. It was a huge disappointment, not what he thought it was going to be. He was floundering. He just said he needed to make money. That was his sole
Mhm.
because he thinks that he needs to retire me, which I told him is not his job. But anyways, God bless him. And anyways, he thrives online. He is taking on the school he's going to, he can take as many classes as he can pass in a semester at a fixed rate. For
Oh,
him, that makes
yeah,
sense dollars wise. He's not going to have a
yeah.
bunch of, so he's on path to probably graduate a year early, and then he'll move into his master's. And my guess is he'll probably have his master's done in a year the way he works. But so he's one of those people that he's very accountable. He blows through stuff. So I think for him it was just made sense, you know. But
Yeah.
I do think for some people, my middle one that's at college now, he was my introvert. This has completely changed him. I absolutely can't imagine him doing the same thing online. It was
Right.
absolutely where he needed to be. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a personality thing. Now, I will say that some things never change. So I failed beginning bowling. I did. I also failed dating and relationships. And I told my husband, well, here you are 35 years later. What did you expect? You should have looked at the report card ahead of time. I still can't. They put the little blinder things on the runners, the tracks for me to bowl, and I still suck at bowling. And my husband loves it. He's so good at it. I just suck at bowling. Like I almost fall down the lane every time. So, not a good experience. And I had a really good time in college. I did. I worked and I stayed out and I made friends and went to class on occasion. Not as often as I should have. But then when I got older, I kind of dropped the fact that I needed college to make money. I knew then that I didn't, that I could make money without it. So I started doing things like brain study classes, things that I loved, right? And just depend on what area of life I was in, what I was passionate about at the time, but I would just go take different fun classes just to take them. I took a speech one that wasn't very good. Uh, but also, like, I think my GPA when I was in person was like 2.67. And they do let you graduate with that, by the way, in case you wondered. You can.
Oh yeah.
You can. But then when I took him as an adult online, I was 4 point on everything. But I didn't put a lot of, I didn't care about that. And so they would send me these invitations to banquets for doing so good. And I never win. They're like, you didn't even come pick up your awards. I'm like, I don't care about the awards. Anyways, so fun fact. Yeah. So let's get started, shall we? Becky, tell us all about your foundations, how it came about, and then let's dive into it.
Absolutely. So foundations came about because I recognized that were a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that were jumping into these dream jobs, and they were getting a year in, maybe 2 years, and all of a sudden success started to hit, and they were struggling with all kinds of things. And the things were foundational things, like they never had time management training. They never did time blocking. They never did a profit list. They hadn't even, so I've run into people that didn't even know how to put together a Google Calendar, how to do a scheduling link. And those are all things that help us move towards profitability, because they take away those tasks that we aren't automating, that we aren't taking care of. They take away from our profits. And so I was asked, well, how are you doing this? And it got to where I was doing it quite often. And somebody said, why aren't you training? And why aren't you speaking to people about this? Because one-on-one, you're getting to a few people, but you have an opportunity to help a whole lot of people. And I think that's where it hit, is that I felt like it, because I am such a firm believer in small business. And I felt like if I could just get to enough people, and we could go start with those foundations, or get to those foundations before we're drowning, then we would be in better shape.
And so I want to back up just a minute. You said people didn't know how to do this. How did we get to that point so that we can do something different going forward with the next generation? So maybe not even the next, maybe it's the second down generation. Maybe it's my grandkids that I need to be teaching how to do these things. How did
Um,
we not learn?
well, I think because number one, when you go through school, everything is mandated. We don't have to make decisions about our time. It's made for us. We have taken away a lot of the thinking process of those things. And then you go to college, and if you go to in-person college, again, while you have free time, like you said, you didn't always go to class. And one of the reasons is because how much of a schedule did you keep before there? And was that schedule one that you created for you or somebody else mandated? But also, a lot of us go to the corporate world, and once again, it's mandated. You show up at 8, you leave at 5, you clock in, you clock out, you do this much stuff, and they tell you what to do, when to do it. And then we get out on our own, and it's like, oh, wow, we have all kinds of time, right? But
Yeah,
if you don't, not if you want to get, not if you want to grow, not if you want to get profitable. So I think that's where it is. I did one of the things I did. I taught my kids how to schedule. I taught them how to use their Google. In fact, I told them to put their Google Calendar. We made a family calendar. It was on all their phones. I taught them, teaching them the value of their time. And so I think that's where we got lost, is that so much of it is mandated. When we get our own time, we don't know what to do in the right
right.
way.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Anybody else? I think that when we're becoming independent of the mandates, whatever they are, that yeah, that makes sense that we kind of get a little bit lost and maybe it's not top priority because we're really enjoying our freedom. Does anybody have any input on that? Okay, we shall carry on.
Okay, so as a result of that, this is where I decided to start was our time. There's lots of things that we can go through. We can talk about productivity, we can talk about ROI and KPIs, and it's all. But where it all starts is our time. And one of the things I had somebody said to me early on was, if you don't respect your time, nobody else will. And that was kind of a big aha moment for me. And so we all hear this like time is on your side. And I got to thinking, is it really though? I mean, when you think about it, it really isn't. Because that old thing that time flies. The good news is, that it does, and the bad news, I mean, the bad news is it does. It flies away and then it's gone. But the good news is we're the pilot of it. And what we need to do is just have the tools that can help us navigate, that part of it. So one of the things I always tell people is the best way to start is at the beginning, and the beginning is a time audit. How many of you have done a time audit before? Oh, this is going to be fun.
I've done
so,
one.
so time audits can be very, very revealing. They're very hard, and unfortunately, they can really mess with you when you do it. And what it is, and you should do it for at least a 3-day period. And what it is that you sit and you write down from the time you get up to the time you go to bed everything you do that day, including potty breaks. I mean, everything. If you're doing it right, it's you have to be brutally honest. You have to be willing to be brutal, and you can't change anything you've been doing. So you can't be good during your time audit just to be good on paper. What you want to see is the ugly. You want to see the bad. You want to know what's going on. And once you do that, then you take your list, and it'll be very revealing. You're going to look at that list and think, "Holy crap, what am I doing here?" So the first thing you'll do, and I am gonna send you each a couple of forms to help you with this beginning part. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that list, and then you are going to scratch off everything that you've been doing that you shouldn't be doing. If you're doom scrolling, you need to scratch it off. If you are playing with the kitty and the doggy during business hours or whatever it is. Now, mind you, you're going to have some personal time in your time. It's always important. But you got to look at all those things that you are doing that are wasting time. And the funny fact is that proof is that business owners waste 30% of their time on low value tasks.
So
Think
Becky,
about that.
do you think that they do that? I've thought about this a lot because a lot of what I try to help my clients do is to achieve balance. And in order to achieve balance, you have to be strategic with your time, right? Do you think that they do that because they're not having clear boundaries between their downtime and their uptime? And so they just kind of get, as the days call, in relaxed in the little task they're doing instead of maybe hustling to finish this in 10 or 15 minutes and then getting up and actually going and taking a physical break. So there's a
I
clear
think that's
boundary
part
there.
of it. But the other part of it is I think that we don't put a dollar sign on our time.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We don't put a dollar sign on our time.
So, and it helps you makes you much more aware of how much your time is worth, and then you're less likely to waste it. So one of the things I tell my clients is that figure out you need to know how much you're worth an hour. You take what you sell, what you teach, what you coach, and you divide that into an hourly rate. Because when you see that, and it's a choice between, oh, I can just spend a little time here looking at Facebook, and maybe a little time over here looking at TikTok, and then maybe I'll walk out and have a coffee and maybe a bagel. And if you start seeing that, and you're like looking at those dollars, you think about that. It's just dollars flying away. So I think that helps with the boundaries that you're talking about.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
I
and
would
the other
encourage everybody too to use the chat. And I see Mark put in here. I just wanted to read to you, Becky. I've told people to add their commute time to their job earnings because that counts as time they spent toward the job, even if they didn't punch in yet. What do you think about
Hmm.
that, Becky, in the
Yeah.
time analysis? Yeah.
Yeah. And I would also say that the other part of that is I always encourage everyone to put some personal time on their calendar first. I think you work. Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So, Lynn, that's boundaries. So we have to learn to put our own personal boundaries on other people that think that our job doesn't matter because we're there at home and we have all kinds of time, and pretty soon you have
Oh,
no time for
God.
your business and all kinds of time for everybody else.
So my
It's
And
so
nephew came
hard.
in
It's
last.
so hard, Becky, because I have a spouse who loves that I work from home, but thinks that even when I used to say, when the door is shut, I cannot be disturbed, he just opens
so
it and
put a
comes
lock
in
on it.
and he just says to me, he'll resent if I spend a lot of my time there and not with him. He'll he'll cry for attention so that I can spend time with him. The other thing is I have family, daughter-in-laws who will say, I need help. I need somebody to drop me off here so I can drop off my vehicle and there's nobody else to do it. And grandchildren who will say, I just need a little advice from you. And it's so hard to say no to everybody.
Okay, so here's one of there's a couple of things in there, and some of the things again, I'm pretty good having had addicts for daughters. You learn to set boundaries really early. So one of the things that I do is number one, I put a lock on my door, and I got a new door handle because I have one person in my household, not my spouse, but my oldest grandson, who thinks I adore him so much that he should pick the lock to have my attention. So um yeah, I also have signs that when I yes, he sat on my lap till he's 18. So but these boys all have trauma from their situation. So there's things that but he, I put signs up on my door in a webinar, do not disturb. You know, I'm in with a client, do not disturb. I give them visuals. I give them boundaries by locking the door. I also will say, "Here's my week. What do you need from me? Let me schedule some time with you. When's the best time to do this? And maybe you just need to have a period of time, Lynn, for him in particular, that you make him your priority. That it makes him feel special. Hey, guess what? I'm going to put you on my calendar today. What's a good time for us to just sit and chat? Maybe because I know he's had a lot of health problems and he's feeling a little insecure and thinking maybe your time together is short. That might that might make it. I also have one day a month that I put on my calendar that everybody knows that is my day. I do nothing for anybody. I if I want to go somewhere, I go, but if not, I can sit in my room for 8 hours drinking coffee and reading a book. I don't care. I don't touch work. I don't touch chores. Pretty much the only thing that would make it that go away would be a major emergency, the house catching on fire, or there be a flood sweeping me away. And that's the way I feel about my day. So I would say that I think it's important because we also need reward in our time. When we schedule our time, and if you'd see my calendar, you'd understand. We also need to reward ourselves with some time because we need it as much as anything, as much as anybody else. But I would say schedule those people in. If my grandson comes in and says to me, I need to talk to you, or can we go over this? We both pull out our calendars and we look at our time, and I'll say, okay, let's do this. Let's go have lunch. Let's have coffee. Let's get in the. Sometimes it's a matter of we get in the car and drive to go pick up coffees and we chat on the way back. But you do have to give them boundaries. I mean, it's hard. It is. But when you say it's hard, you're also saying, I maybe I don't need to work as much as I think I do, or maybe I don't value my work time as much as as much as I do. Say I do.
Well, I think you're also saying that you value the person that wants to communicate with you.
Well,
So
you do.
I
Yes.
I dropped in the chat a link to a door hanger that I made, and you guys it's editable. It's just a template link. So go in and change it to whatever you want. But I put on it, please do not disturb. I am deep diving in my focus work, tackling the project I have avoided in my creative zone, building the income that pays for our weekend vacay. Instead, text me. I'll check on it when I can. Look behind the milk. Ask Google, Alexa, or the neighbor. Schedule a chat on my calendar. Unless it's an emergency, which is listed on back. And then it says times you should interrupt. When the house is on fire, you are on fire. Someone is bleeding, unconscious, or barfing. The toilet is overflowing. The dog escaped. Life or limb. There is a coffee, wine, or flower delivery for me. A wild animal got in the house. Squirrel in the kitchen. We need to talk. Other, use your best judgment. Look behind the milk again first. So, and nobody respects my boundaries. They all come through the door anyways. My nephew came in last night and sat, and he said, well, this is a nice chair. What's it for? I peeked around the computer. I said therapy. He's like, oh, what kind of therapy? I'm like, business therapy. It starts at $200 an hour. And he's like, I'm leaving. He got up out of the chair, left.
Yep.
Bye.
I want to blow that up to a full page size and put that on my door.
There you go.
Good. And put it just side by side.
That's right. That way I know everybody can see it, because I have French doors on 2 sides of my office. So there's plenty of space to put that on there.
There you go.
Yeah. And
There
sometimes
you
you have to do your own. Like I have a sign right above my screen that says, is what I'm doing right now getting me closer or further from my goals?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that.
So if I'm messing around, I look up and I see that, and obviously, guess what? It's time to, because as much as you do, I mean, I love time blocking. I'm a time management freak. I have, things on I set alarms for everything. Oops. And I just undid my camera somehow.
And I love time blocking. I'll tell you why, because I'm one of those people that it took me more than 25 years to go to bed with a dirty dish in the sink. Because I like to get everything, that's all the tasks complete. And it took a little while to shift my completeness brain to being, I completed the time and that was enough. Because some tasks, like if I go in to organize my closet, well, I could get lost for days, And so I have to say, I'm going to go in and organize for an hour.
Right.
And then at the end of that hour, I have to feel like I completed that hour, and be able to walk away and move on to the next thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the key in feeling the power of handling your time too. Now we all know that life's going to happen, but what you don't do is let life derail you permanently. So when you have your little audit, then I suggest we also at the same time we do a brain dump. And I do a brain dump once a week. Some people do it once a month, because what you're going to find is when on that time audit is some of the things that you got in your head are not on that list. And where do you fit them? So, I like to do the brain audit, and then I put mine through. There's a couple of things you can put them through. There's a Eisenhower matrix, or you can put it through, some kind of sieve that says, these are the things I have to do. These are the things that I can put off doing. These are the things I should delegate, can delegate and should delegate. And these are the things I need to delete from the list. And once you sieve that down, then you're ready to take that, and you need to put it through one more thing. And this is what I kind of call the red, green, yellow of your life. And that is, taking those things on that list that now that you have to do. Which things are going to bring you money the soonest? Those are your greens. If it means today, tomorrow, in this week, those are the things you should be concentrating on the first 90 minutes of your day, because fact is that the first 90 minutes of our day are usually our most productive. So that's where you need to protect the most. And then you take your things that are and you can use whatever colors you want. I don't care if it's purple, green, and blue. It's whatever colors work for you. Green for me is the things that are going to bring me money now. Yellow is the things that are going to bring me money maybe in a month, a week, a couple weeks, a month at most. And then the red things are those big projects you're planning. Those are the projects you've got for 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, something like that. But you know it's going to bring money. But you have to equate time for them. But your green should always be your most of your time, your first 90 minutes usually, and then you break off your time accordingly for the other tasks. And then you have your time in between for the things that are just tasks. Because frankly, you can have a to-do list or you can have a profit list. And I personally like to have a profit list. I like to have those things that on my list that I know are going to equate to money, because otherwise, we're just doing a lot of stuff. We're keeping busy doing a lot of stuff. And if we do a lot of stuff, we aren't making money, right?
I think that's
So,
interesting because I had somebody reach out to me and offer me their services. And while it was intriguing, it wasn't something that would move the needle in my business. And it wasn't something that was necessary. And so even though I was intrigued, I had to remind myself to put my blinders on, stay in my lane, stay focused, and just tell them, at this point, that's not something that's important to me right now. So I'm not doing that, but learning to say no is a big part of that too. So I have a question for you, Becky.
yes, ma'am.
Do you remember Emily Post?
Yes.
Do you know who that is? Does anybody
I-
here not know who Emily Post is? Chanel, you don't know, do you? Angela. Okay, so Emily Post wrote an etiquette column for I don't even know how many years. Probably 30 years. And it seemed like it was in all the big newspapers. I don't know, but my mother got all of her etiquette advice from there. And so hence I sat down at a table that was correctly set for every meal of my life. I never ate toast standing in the kitchen. We always had courses with our meals. We knew our manners, but I want to know, how long do you give people to join a meeting before you leave the meeting, before it's etiquettely correct to exit the meeting?
I think
I'd like a very direct answer. So just tell me
yes.
10 minutes or whatever.
I,
Then I can say Becky
I
said.
yeah, I usually give people 5 minutes.
Oh,
And
you're
then I will
not okay.
pardon?
You're not as nice as me. I give him 7.
I will send an email or text if I have their phone number. Because stuff happens. We know Zoom
Right.
happens, things like that. But if I don't get a response to the email and they're not there 5 minutes, I usually leave the meeting.
Okay. So, and I kind of say 7, and then I reach out to them. Text, call is last, but I'll email them or text them. If I don't get a response, I'll call them real quick. But I do think, like you said, life happens. And so sometimes it's that they're getting out of a meeting late. And then other times I'm right on top of that, Zoom happens and you
Right.
can't get in or something. And so, but I always feel bad too when I leave and they're not there yet. I'm like, what if they came on 1 minute later? Then I feel bad.
Well, I'll tell them in my thing. If they're in something, send me a text, send me a message. Just let me know you're in something. I'll hang out. I'll leave my Zoom room open,
Well, that's
and I
good.
will. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
good.
I don't hear from them at all, I know that obviously something, happened, right?
Yeah. So funny story. First time I met with Chanel, I don't even remember, right? It was so funny. Poor Chanel went in and waited for me probably forever. And I think I was off by the time was I off by an hour, Chanel?
No, the meeting was scheduled for 12:40. And I think you maybe thought it was like on the hour. So I
Yes.
waited 10 minutes and I think I sent you a message. I left the room for Zoom and I just sent you a message and you responded with, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got the time wrong." So
I was
I
so
think
dying.
yeah, I think just being like lenient, like being open to like listen to the person's response. I mean, I've waited for people 10 minutes, messaged them, reached out in any way or form, and then they never respond. So I just leave it because then
And I
obviously
think that's great
I'm
because
not a priority.
we
Yeah.
have such a great relationship now too, but you were very, very good about giving me grace. And I usually don't check my messages because I know my schedule, I know when I'm supposed to be in places. So I'm so grateful you did that. And if any of you haven't sat down with Chanel, you need to sit down with Chanel. She's a hoot and she just really knows her stuff, but it's a great meeting. If you haven't met her, meet her. So take the time to do that. And everybody make sure you utilize the chat, drop your information in there. Keith says in the chat, Becky, I generally message when I open the Zoom. I message again about 3 minutes after and 10 past. I message again to say that I'm closing the meeting to message me when they see the messages. Oh, that's a good idea too. And I'm always open for people to reschedule, but I do have one guy that was a no-show twice and now he wants to reschedule. I'm like, can't make it. Sorry, I can't make it. Sorry, I can't make it. Like, I don't even want to think about it, sorry. Didn't work.
Yeah. And I agree. I try to give people grace because I know there's times that we've all had that time where it's a client's kept us just a little long, or Zoom happened or whatever it was, right? You didn't get, like the other day I had one, I'm like talking to him on the phone because I was still in my car, so I think that we have the option to give grace. Let's put it that way. We have the option to give grace because we do have some flexibility, and no matter how much you time block, you still have some flexibility.
Right.
And I think that it's important that we do consider that other people have the same things that happen to us.
Yeah, and
Becky,
I've
I have a
actually gone in
question.
Zoom. Oh, I've actually gone,
sorry.
just a second, Shelley. I've actually gone in Zoom, opened a meeting and sat there and waited and waited and waited, and then realized that it says waiting for the host to start. And I am the host, and I'm like, well, let me go out and go start the meeting, and come to find out they're waiting. But somehow there's a little bit of a disconnect sometimes between the calendar link and your actual Zoom. And I'm always surprised when that happens. Go ahead, Chanel.
Yeah, exactly. Becky, so you're talking about time blocking, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you give yourself like a buffer time between activities?
It depends on what the activities are. So there are some things I do not give buffers between. And I will tell you, I also set alarms for everything on my calendar. So every appointment, everything that's consistent that I do every week, it's all an alarm because we have things that distract us, right? So those are my reminders. It's really good training. I also use one of these handy little things too. If I'm allowing myself something, so say during my lunchtime, I decide that I'm going to doom scroll or something like that. I'll set this so it reminds me. And it's a great little tool when you're first learning to block your time. There's 15, 20, 30, and 60 minutes on this. And it's a nice little additive because I set the alarms on my phone, but sometimes I forget that I put my phone on silent. So, there's that.
Yeah, there's also an app that I've been using. It's called Focus Time, and it's a free app. And you can set it for 25 minutes of focus time, and then 5 minutes of like just breathing, look at this, look
Yes.
at the nature, or like just do something else, and then go back to focus time.
Windows has that right on your computer. If you have a window, if you don't have a Mac, you go down in the far right-hand corner where your time is, and if you click on it, you can set focus time down there. And I started using that also.
I did
Because
not
it
know
puts
that.
puts a little clock right up on your screen, and it counts up, and it does. You can take a 5-minute. It'll give you a 5-minute pause if you wanted to. Yeah, it's really cool. So I like that visual. I'm a visual person. That's why my time blocking is very colorful. Like I said, I use lots of colors. Everything has a color for whatever it is, the value of it, I guess. I set very specific appointment times, so I don't let people jump on my open calendar. If I set times aside for clients, I set times aside for trainings, I set time aside for groups that I do, so that I don't let that bleed into my productive time.
Yeah, we call that no brown days, because if you mix all the colors together, you just get this weird brown color. And then, so if you like block it up, like this is the green time, this is the yellow time, like you've
Yep.
said, and the red time. If you have that, it's color coordinated. But if you just mix it all together and you don't know what's going on, It's like this,
Yeah,
brown,
exactly.
weird
And you have no
color.
boundaries. And what I find is my colors give me boundaries too. Like there's one of the things that we talked about, how do you create those boundaries? For me, those boundaries are the colors on my calendar.
What other boundaries do you have apart from the sign on your door or lock it?
I will start a conversation if I have a conversation with a client or somebody that tends to be chatty. I will start the conversation with, I have a hard stop at.
I like that.
And that works very well to kind of give them an idea. And I will repair. I'll also repeat that sometime during the conversation for my reminder, for their reminder. Not and I'll say I'm sorry at the beginning. I'll just make it like I'm sorry, but I have a hard stop at, and that does work very well. It helps put that end on that, so wraps it up. Um, so sometimes, having somebody hold you accountable too for a while. When you're starting to set boundaries and things, have an accountability partner. I do that with my clients. Sometimes we have check-ins. Um, and then also if you set your calendar up and you do well with it at the end of the week, give yourself a little reward, like sneak in some 15-minute time or something like that. Make sure that you build in something for your success.
Mm. What I struggle with is I get so detailed with what I'm blocking my time off that it's too many things that I got to think about.
Right.
So
So
what would you suggest I do?
again, here's what you can do. You have built your profit list over here, right? You know what things you got to do, what things you have to do, what things are going to bring you money, right?
Yeah.
If that's your green, block your green off in 90 minutes. And then you use your list to do those things. You can count them off. You can keep your list wherever you want to keep your list. You want to put it on there and inside that green, go right ahead. But that 90-minute period or whatever it is for you, if it's 2 hours, whatever, then that is that time that you work the top things on that list that you have already worked on. That's why you have the profit list, right?
I
So
see. Yeah.
yeah, instead of, because I agree with you that putting all those little things on in your blocks, that's exactly why I time block, because I've seen those calendars where it's a line and a line and a line and a line, and they have to
Yeah.
open the block up in order to get everything. Yeah,
That was
that
me.
visually, I know. So visually for me, that would be like, holy crap, that would make me insane. Like I would just be
My
like,
calendar looked
I'm
like
done.
Smarties.
I'm
All the
done. Right?
colors.
Because think about it. Don't you think that sometimes, in a sense, that you open that up and you think, there's no way I can ever get that all done. So
Yeah, exactly. You get so
so
overwhelmed that you just end up doing nothing.
right. So
Hmm.
you've already sabotaged yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Hmm.
So one of the things that
Interesting.
I really like to do is to make sure that I'm done, that I get up and walk away. Because otherwise, I would become a Jean Coon, and she's not in here, so I can say that. I would become a Jean Coon and sit in front of my computer all the time. But there's so much more life to be loved and lived outside of being here working. And so, and it took me a while. Okay, let's be honest, it took me probably 15 months before I said, okay, I'm done at 1. And people are like, no, wait, why? I've got time in the afternoon to meet. I'm like, yeah, I'm done at 1. And they're like, how are you done at 1? I'm like, because I start at 4. Do the math. I'm done at 1.
Right.
And I don't work Thursdays. The only thing I do on Thursdays is go to lunch with Lynn and one other networking thing. I know, I hope you're flattered, Lynn. And then Friday I do nothing because I have grandbabies. And if I can't take a day and a half to just love on my grandbabies, then I shouldn't be building a business at all. So I have a
Absolutely.
really weird schedule. I go, like today I started at 4 and my last meeting today is at 4, so I'll be done at 5. And I won't, Monday's the day my husband feeds me all day and he brings me things and drinks, and I literally just get up and run and take a potty break because I scheduled 12 meetings today. And I do that intentionally so that I don't have to do that the rest of the week. So, and then I
Right.
have one day, which I would suggest everybody do, where you don't do any meetings. I just don't do any meetings at all. I'm, it says out of office on my calendar, and I'm not actually out of office. I'm right here doing things that move the needle. you know, the little things. And I don't have to worry about being interrupted by a call or anything else.
I agree with you. I think that, and I'm getting there. I see. I had an attitude when I started this. It was a different place in life. I don't have grandbabies running in. I don't have kids running in. I don't have those distractions. I don't have pets. I always say I had teenagers. I didn't want pets, but anyway, um, but it- for me, this is also kind of my hobby. I read and I do this. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in 4 years. And so I just felt like, why does it matter how long I spend, right? What does it matter? I don't have anything else to do. But there are other things in life. So one of the things I do, and I start putting caps on those days. I don't walk in my office until I do certain things. I don't walk out of my office, till I finish some things. But some days I work. I may work. I may have 8 days. I may have those days, but there's time in between that. I have family time. I have lunch time. I have in the morning. I have my prayer time. I have my time that I spend with Jean. Things like that. So I think that you do have to have those. You do have to do that. You have to, and like I said, it comes back to that statement. If you don't value if you don't value your time, nobody else will.
I agree. Does anybody else have any time saving or time management tips they'd like to share, or what you do that works for you?
Well, Colleen, I would like to say that I do blitz days too. And I've just recently started that. And it's fabulous because then it makes you feel like you've rewarded yourself. And whether you do it every other day or whether you do 3 days of blitzing and then a day off, I mean, it really has to just work with your schedule. But the other thing I have forced myself to do, and now it's just becoming, if I don't do it, it's just like, ugh. I go outside at least every 3 hours, barefooted, take in the sun, ground myself. It only has to be 10, 15 minutes. I pull weeds. I'm getting something done on a personal level, but it clears my head and it makes me so much more effective when I go back for multiple more hours. And I know sometimes we go, oh, I can't afford to do that. I need that time. Oh, shut up, Diane. I told myself that for years. And now it's just like become a part of me. And I just really feel I'm so much more together. I'm so much healthier for it. So
Right. I agree. And I think it's interesting that we used to take smoke breaks, right?
yes.
I never smoked, but people around me smoked, and I took a smoke break when they did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'll be damned if I'm in here busting my ass while you're out there smoking. So I take a smoke break too. So
Right.
why do we have to convince ourselves to take a smoke break now?
Yeah.
Go take your smoke break, pull some weeds, swing. I love that you do grounding. I do that too. But then you have to scrub your feet at the end of every day, but that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to, that's your choice. I'd rather change my sheets more often and leave my feet dirty.
Sleep with dirty feet. And I'm on a farm, so I mean, you never know what I'm walking in out here. But anybody
My
else?
mom, yeah, I was going to tell you, Colleen, my mom swears that one of the reasons that she's lived to 90 is because she worked on a farm and she was always barefoot because she was a foster child and they would not buy shoes for them. And so she was always in pig slop and everything else barefoot. So
There you go. Angela, you had something to share?
Yeah, I was going to say that what's worked for me lately is doing the activities that remind me of my why. So if it's I'm really in the zone, but my kids want to go to the beach or they want me to color or whatever it be, go outside and just walk down to the square and play. I'm really leaning into those yes moments because once I'm out, this is why I'm working so hard. This is why I'm trying to do this. So leaning more into those moments has really helped me lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, before we close, does anybody have questions for Becky? And then Becky, will you also drop whatever it was you said you had in the chat?
yeah, I want to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just my for some reason my link's goobered up. I don't know what happened between last night and today. It isn't functioning. So actually, my guy was in there. I have a guy that's doing some work in my CRM, and I think we have a disconnect. Let's just put it that way. So if you hit me up, however you want to hit me up, I think if everybody's email is in the chat, I'll just get everybody from there and send it out to you.
Okay. And then make sure you send it to me, because I'm going to post it with the replay.
Absolutely.
And then I will also post it in my membership group, and it will also be posted on our YouTube channel with this video. So,
Well, thank you. I should have a QR code by the end of the day working.
okay. Okay.
All
Very
right.
good. Does anybody else have anything to share?
I have something to share. My mentor, when we started getting into like the entrepreneurship and everything, she said, try to make this fun. Like, make your profit list especially fun. So she said, before you start, you just rub your hands together, feel the energy and the warmth, and you go, show me the money. Like, you do it in this
Yep.
creepy voice, and you just rub it up. I mean, it was just something fun.
That is
Anyway.
I wanted to share one last quote. So this is from Charles Colton. He said, the present time has one advantage over every other time. It is your own.
I like that. I like that. So now, what's everybody doing with their time today?
Making money.
I'm going to be in meetings all day, meeting people. I have actually, I'm going to be in a podcast I don't even know anything about, and I'm going to meet somebody new. And then the other people are just touchbacks. So people that I know, but maybe haven't talked to in 2 or 3 weeks. Not necessarily people I've done business with, but people that we just had a good chat, and I want to get back and chat with them again and see where they're at. What's everybody else doing?
They're
Follow-up
supposed to be
calls.
going to Colleen for a party. Right. You got the farm. Let's start,
Yeah, come on. I've got the beef too, so.
What do they call it?
Barefoot in the chicken shit.
Yeah, because you get barefoot in the barn with, like there's some catchy thing there. Barefoot in the barn with Colleen or chickens. Yeah.
There you go. And all the toys are in the barn, so that might be a good place to go.
As long as I'm done with barefoot and pregnant. Done
No,
with that.
I'm not doing barefoot and pregnant for sure. No. I think most of us are out on that. Maybe not Chanel, but the rest of us are out.
But when it comes to time, though, I look at it as kind of like with what they talk about with marriage. Like you have to, no matter after being married, you still have to find time to have date night. You have to have time for yourself. So it's like with business is the same thing. Like you have to make time for every little thing. And people say like, oh, I don't have time. It's like, you have time. You have time for what you prioritize to make time for. I tell a lot of the guys in men empowerment groups, it's like, guys, listen, when you say you don't have time, we all know if a beautiful woman texts or calls you and says, hey, can you come over? You're going over. You didn't have time, no, but now you have a time because it's priority. And it's just like, it's the thing. It's like when there's high enough priority for something, you will find the time to go to take advantage of whatever opportunity it is that you have if you have set that priority on it. It's like,
I agree. We're all given the same 24 hours. Lynn, what are you doing with your 24 hours?
Some follow-up calls and a handyman that I did not expect to have to call for a big leak in my ceiling. So I have to take care of that.
Geez.
That has to happen. And just, that's it. Lots of follow-up. I'm really behind in that.
I love follow-up though, because there's no tension and there's no anxiety because you don't know the person. It's just fun stuff, right?
Yay.
Anybody else?
So I'm doing a 2-hour training, 1 of 3 days in publicity to add a string to my bow. And then at 4 o'clock, I have a delightful new meeting with my new partner. We're joining forces to assist lawyers, which I've been one for a long time, with quality of life issues.
Very good. Does everybody know Catherine?
No, they don't.
Catherine,
Some
why
do,
don't you
some
take a
don't.
minute and introduce yourself? And then I also want to give the floor to Lynn so that she can invite anybody who hasn't been to attend her lunch with Lynn. So go ahead, Catherine, you first.
Okay, well, I have two businesses. I'm emphasizing marketing to lawyers. I picked up business there and it's led me, based on an experience that did not work out properly, to telling a business buddy and personal friend I've known for 2 years, we should join forces. You are a therapist with 80 courses and more to come. And I love to market to lawyers, and boy, do I know the legal culture. Like I can get people who are qualified a continuing legal education class, even if they're not lawyers. And I've done that with several different industries. It's a lot of fun. And the
I
other
think-
business is writing coaching, plus
Yeah.
writing my own books.
I think it's amazing. So I met Catherine on Alignable. All right, Miss Lynn, do you want to tell us about your lunch with Lynn?
Yes, mark your calendars, guys. I promise you, you'll have fun on Thursdays from noon till 2 Central or 1 to 3 Eastern. You are all welcome. It's free. Go to zoomwithlynn.com. It will give you all the dates. Mark as many as you'd like, and it will send you a reminder. I would love to have you there so that we can try to make introductions and connections and opportunities available for all of you. I do have speaking opportunities available also, so if you're interested in that, please let me know.
All righty. With that, we will wrap it up. Becky, do you have anything you want to close with?
No, just make the most of your time.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate
Thank
all of you
you.
being here. And we will see you next
Colleen,
week.
who's coming up next?
Who's coming up next? I don't even know.
Come on, I like the little previews when I used to go to the
know, right?
movies
That's
and they
supposed to be
give
the
us
mystery.
yeah, the movies
You'll
would
find
give
out
us
next week.
I am so
No.
glad you asked because next week is a holiday and we won't be here.
Oh, even if it's a holiday, I expect to be here.
Wait a
Oh.
minute. It's Labor Day. Isn't that the day you're supposed to work?
Let's stop, Mark. You sound like my dad. The better the day, the better the deed.
Hey,
If you guys want to meet next Monday, I'll meet with you, but I'll be speaking. So
I'm a dad, so I can make the dad jokes.
that was a
So
dad
who will
joke.
we see then in 2 weeks?
Catherine Wilking.
All
Yay,
right.
so we
have
can
a
all be
great
feng,
lineup
we
for
can all be
September.
feng shuied.
Yeah, we've got Catherine Wilking, then we've got Stephanie Oden, and then we've got Nicole Borgie.
And it's the same time every Monday.
Yep,
Beautiful.
10 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Ladies,
All right.
remember,
And
empowered women empower women.
there you go. And then I have every Monday through Friday, except next Monday, at 7 a.m. a Built on the Rock wake up call from 7 to 7:30. And we just start with a prayer and an inspirational thought and start our day out right.
Can I
Really
stick
short
my
and
head
sweet.
in and see how it is?
Yeah, please do.
Good, I'll stick my head in.
BuiltOnTheRock.net. We'll take you right there.
Yay.
What is it?
What time is it?
7 a.m. Central Standard to 7:30. It's BuiltOnTheRock.net. And Jessica
Okay.
goes and Karen goes and I go. So I think it's a good group.
And that's
And that'll
5:30
get
my
you right
time.
into the Zoom?
So
Oh, and Catherine goes. Where'd Catherine go? She left already.
That gets you into the Zoom, Colleen, builtontherock.net?
Yep, takes you right into the Zoom.
Perfect.
BuiltOnTheRock.net. Yep.
All right, because I got it on my calendar to try to.
rarely is my coffee even ready at 5:30 a.m. Pacific. So,
Well, I just want you to know that Kathy's there.
well,
So, and she lives in Oregon. So I know I'm always surprised. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's a little competitive thought. I'll have to
that's a
think
little
about
early. That is early.
that.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Have an amazing
you.
day.
You
Enjoy your week.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.